Hi, welcome to my YouTube channel, Empowered Empaths. My name is Shay, and this video gives 5 book recommendations for you along your journey. So the first one is Psychopath Free, and the subtitle is Recovering from Emotionally Abusive Relationships with Narcissists, Sociopaths, and Other Toxic People. What I really like about this book is that it gives, it's really well-rounded, and if you only choose one book from this whole 5-part list, I recommend this book. It goes over, it gives you tools and goes over lots of information that's really educational and enlightening and validating. So it goes over this 30 item list of red flags, explains how you're groomed and tricked into the relationship, and it that kind of makes you feel less bad and that you're not dumb for doing it, and it goes through how that process happened. It goes through recovery, what the stages of griefs are, and what moving forward, or stages of grief, is, what the stages are, and moving forward. And it gives, again, really good validation and makes a point that it's not just your weaknesses that were exploited, but also your strengths. So the second book that I recommend is called The Gaslight Effect by Dr. Robert Stern. And the subtitle is How to Spot and Survive the Hidden Manipulation Others Use to Control Your Life. And for those of you that don't know what gaslighting is, psychology today, it gives this really good definition. It's called, that says that it's a form of persistent manipulation and brainwashing that causes a victim to doubt him or herself, and ultimately to lose his or her own sense of perception, identity, and self-worth. And Dr. Stern really goes into this in depth and covers and helps you be able to identify what gaslighting is in action, and how to stop it, and how to regain control over your own life, and has these exercises and little blurb sections that I remember being really helpful, and it really cut through the fog with me. I remember finding this book early along in my recovery journey. So the third book is Complex PTSD by Pete Walker, and the subtitle is From Surviving to Thriving. And I think this book is really comprehensive in a different way than Psychopath Free is. Pete Walker is a therapist, and so he has experienced trauma, relationship trauma, I think narcissistic abuse personally. And so he has this therapist, not only a therapist angle, but also an insider perspective. And I think that's what gives it a nice twist. Because you can tell when you're reading the book that he's somebody that knows. And he goes over what I really liked about it is the reparenting. He has this whole chapter, I think it might be more than one chapter, on reparenting yourself and how to go about doing that. And goes over the 4 F's, or the 4 trauma responses: fight, flight, freeze, and fawn. And the hybrids of these. And I think that he's the only one that I've seen so far that goes over the hybrids of this, and gives a really good explanation of all 4, and so you can identify what type yours is. And I think he helps you to be able to get out of that and to change, if I'm not mistaken. I think that he does that. He goes over the recovery process, just like Jackson McKenzie does in Psychopath Free. And also goes over how to shrink your inner and outer critic, and managing emotional flashbacks. I remember the emotional flashback section being really helpful. The 4th book I recommend is In Sheep's Clothing: Understanding and Dealing with Manipulative People by Dr. George Simon. I think that he works with psychopaths and other cluster Bs, and he's a therapist. But what I remember from this book and what I really took away was all the, he goes into detail with like just startling accuracy and like just detail of what covert manipulation is. So covert is like hidden, what that is. And I really recommend that book. And the last book is The Body Keeps a Score, Brain, Mind, and Body in the Healing of Trauma by Dr. Bessel van der Kolk. And this is more like a science, it's more sciencey, and he like quotes a lot of studies and things like that, and he's like a scientist or a researcher, like and a therapist. I think he's a psychiatrist, but don't quote me on that. But I think that he works with patients and also does like research as well. And the main point that I took away from this book is like how traditional talk therapy fails to help patients, because like when you're recovering from trauma, there's going to be times when you can't linguistically access your trauma, like to be able to speak it out loud or to put it into words. You just see the images and things like that. And so if you can't, if you can't do that, then like therapy, talking about it, talk therapy isn't going to work. And he goes into like what the solutions are, and I think that one of them is art, and if one of them isn't art, then that's my addition to it, because I remember art, like drawing out pictures of like scenes and things like that were haunting me, that really helped free me. But things that are in the book for sure is yoga and EMDR. And I remember not this past, because I've been through a lot of these relationships and these situations and friendships and interactions. And so not this most recent time in from 2014, 2015, that's just sort of, that one did me in for a few years. But like a few years recovering is what I mean. But back in like early 2011, I also like had this experience with this guy, and I remember I was doing yoga, and that really helped me. Like I saw tremendous amounts of benefit from that, and I thought that it was from the therapy that I was in. Also, I was in psychoanalysis, but looking back on it and after reading this book, it made me realize a lot of the benefit that I was seeing, I think, was from yoga and like working out regularly, but definitely the yoga. Like I'd always feel so grounded, and I remember like thinking about things that were haunting me that I was like trying to talk about in therapy, or should have been talking about in therapy but maybe wasn't, and like that was being released and I didn't really even know it. So these are my top five books that I recommend that really helped me along my journey. And let me know in the comments if you have different books, or if you have books to recommend other people in our community. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye!